has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we
do it. Okay, yeah. We have to start all over because like we didn't go. Okay, now we're live. Try it again. Try it again.
Someone take over, Mike, if the internet's happening.
Are we live?
I believe we are. We are live.
We are live.
Walaikum salam. How is everyone?
Phenomenal. Praise be to
All right.
Happy Thursday. So listen, let's get this show started. Happy Thursday. Welcome and good evening, everyone. This is Thursday Night Talks. We have a fun-filled show tonight. And when I say fun, meaning fun with a lot of information, a lot of serious information that we believe that's going to help our guests, and hopefully it can help someone that you know that may be going through a similar situation. So I am your sister, Michelle. I am the co-host / moderator / whatever the show needs me to be this evening. And I am here with my co-host that we will get into. But before I go any further, I always like to say, please like and share. So if someone can hit that button. So there we go. Like and share. So if you're on Facebook, of course, like and share. If you don't like being on Facebook, but you're on YouTube, then you can also subscribe and share as well. We just want to make sure that we get everyone and anyone who will benefit from this message that we have this evening can hear it and share it, and hopefully it helps. So I will move over and just kind of give the mic over to Sister Kalila. But again, I just want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you for liking and sharing. Thank you for letting your family members know. And again, if you have not had an opportunity, we always say we have a lot of content on our Facebook page and on YouTube. So please take time, go through, peruse down our Facebook lane, and you will find very informative shows that we've had in the past and in the present that we believe that will be beneficial. So again, I'm going to pass over the mic to Sister Kalila, and she will take it further from here.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
We could hear you, but you're like not moving.
That's normally what happens when you're in the matrix and you're actually remote. First of all, I want to start off in the most holy name of Allah, always bearing witness that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet you all in the greeting words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. Like Sister Michelle just indicated, this is going to be a full show. I pray that everyone is tuning in because, like, again, Sister Michelle indicated, this is going to be very informative. By a show of hands, how many do you know or do that know someone that knows someone that knows someone that's in the prison, you know, complex that are getting mistreated, abused, you know, just pretty much getting tortured, you know, and in the sake of their property. We're going to actually take this system down. But the only way we can take it down is by getting you the information that you need in order to take it down. So information is education. And this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. Educating you all on how we're going to be able to expose the abuse in the prison industrial complex. But it's also justice for our dear brother who's suffering from the same abuse in this prison industrial complex. So I don't want to belabor the point. I want to get right into it. Brother Tony, I want you to go in directly into our ministry that we're going to be actually highlighting and we're going to be talking about in regards to our dear brother that we're going to be actually seeking for justice for.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And greetings to everyone. Let me begin properly in the name of Almighty God, Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the supreme being, whom holy praises are forever due. I am forever thankful to Almighty God, Allah, for his intervention in our affairs and raising from among us the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the exalted Christ. And I further bear witness, and I'm thankful to Almighty God, Allah, for not leaving us alone and leaving in our midst the pinnacle of leadership that is in our midst today that wants justice for our people. And I'm just very grateful and thankful that I'm able to serve in this capacity, because if it was not for this man, none of us would be on this platform right here, right now. So I'm very thankful to Allah for the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. In their divine names, I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. We greet all of our people in all of the languages that they may speak, whether it be Shalom, Baragani, what's up, que pasa, sak pase, all of the languages of our people, Hotep, whatever language you speak, and whatever language you greet your people and our people, we greet you in that language as well. We want to thank you for coming and joining on with us here in Thursday Night Talks, headed up by the 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives. The 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives was assembled by our student regional minister here in the 7th Region, Student Minister Patrick Muhammad, upon the instructions of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, soon after the Criterion message on July 4th, 2020. The message at that time was to guide our people to safety in regards to an experimental inoculation, or they call it a vaccine, but it's some experimental type of work that can't even be called a vaccine. And not knowing the full side effects of such an experiment, we were warning our people about the realities of that particular experience. And we are still warning our people and still guiding our people to many realities that we are facing, many challenges that we are facing, many trials that we are facing, and how to overcome them and get through them. And our series right now, this is our second in the series in focusing on unity, because it is only unity that we are able to overcome many of the hurdles that we are experiencing as a people. The black, the brown, the red. This is the time for the unity of our people, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad put it himself, that our unity is greater or more powerful than an atomic bomb. And so, beloved family, our ministry here tonight that we're going to be focusing on is the ministry of justice. And this is one of the 9 ministries assembled by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 2005 in the midst of the Millions More movement. The ministry of justice protects the rights and privileges of the members of the society and provides for penalties to be imposed upon persons who violate or threaten to violate the law or disrupt the peace. No member of the community shall forfeit his or her rights and privileges of membership in the community without just cause and without due process in reaching a determination that such cause exists. This ministry is charged with the development of an independent judicial system in order to carry out its charge. It also initiates legal action, including class actions against external entities, including governments, corporations, institutions, and or individuals who through their actions pose a threat to the essential rights of members of this community. Tonight, we're going to be exposing injustices that take place in the prison industrial complex and what we could do as a community to help improve the quality of life of our people, guide them out of that system, and also provide help where it is needed with our people that are in that system today. And with that, I hand it back over to Sister Michelle.
Okay, thank you, Brother Tony.
Okay.
So now we're going to go right into our statistics. And so I'm going to turn it over to Sister Felicia, who will talk about statistics dealing with tuberculosis.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. And I would like to greet everyone in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Hotel.
Walaikum salam.
Ashe.
Breathe the
All
land.
right. Right. So we're going to share with you some statistics tonight. All right. And we're going to empower you with the resource so you can go and do due diligence for yourself. All right. So let us share the first set of statistics with you. And it is, here we go. All right. So nearly half of tuberculosis cases in prisons worldwide go undetected. So we'll put this link also in the Facebook group and on the YouTube channel so you can also have access to it. All right. In the first global assessment of tuberculosis among incarcerated people, a new study found consistently high TB case rates and low case detection in prisons, suggesting the need for health organizations to increase efforts to reduce the spread of tuberculosis among this high-risk population. In 2019, incarcerated people across the globe developed tuberculosis, TB, at nearly 10 times the rate of people in the general population, according to a new study led by the School of Public Health. Did y'all hear that?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, published in this journal, The Lancet Public Health, the study found that 125,105 of the 11 million people incarcerated worldwide developed tuberculosis in 2019 at a rate of 1,148 cases per 100,000 persons per year.
Wow.
Despite this high case rate, nearly half of TB cases among incarcerated people were not detected.
Right.
The findings revealed the first global and regional estimates of new TB cases among incarcerated people, a population at high risk of developing this life-threatening disease. Collectively, the high case rate and low detection underscored the need for greater awareness and resources to reduce the burden of TB in prisons and other high-risk settings. All right. Our study showed that only 53% of people that develop tuberculosis in prisons are diagnosed, which suggests that incarcerated people are neglected and have minimal healthcare services to diagnose tuberculosis, end quote. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Says study led and corresponding author Leonardo Martinez, assistant of professor of epidemiology.
Yeah. And Sister Felicia, that was published by Boston University, right
Okay.
there. So
Wow.
y'all can't argue that there's like Muslim trick statistics here.
Right.
Everything that we're getting is information that's online and accessible to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sister Felicia.
You're welcome.
So we have another statistic that will be presented by Brother Mark. It's on U.S. prison inmates. If we can bring that up, and then we're going to get Brother Mark to read off those statistics. 1 second, Brother Mark.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, this is dealing with U.S. prison inmates. Okay, so this is dealing with U.S. prison inmates aren't getting medical care they need. And this is the report. According to an April 14th, 2023 U.S. News and World Report article, U.S. prison inmates may be severely undertreated for common chronic health conditions such as asthma, type 2 diabetes, HIV, and mental illness, new research suggests. While researchers like complete inmate data, they reached this conclusion through a variety of sources, including National Health Survey data from 2018 to 2020 and a commercial prescription database. Furthermore, this article stated past research has found evidence that the estimated 2 million incarcerated in the United States receive poor quality health care under conditions that include too little funding and too few staff. I turn it back over to you, Sister Michelle.
Yes, sir. And again, that was from the U.S. News. And if someone can put that article into the chat box.
Right.
And
U.S.
then-
News report.
Reports. And so we will move on to the next article that will be brought to us by Brother Tony.
Yes,
And it deals with all 123 or 123 U.S. federal prisons need maintenance.
123.
So,
Yep.
123. All right. Brother
Yeah, it's
Tony,
not. It's not 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 123
It's 123.
U.S.
ma'am.
federal prisons. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Brother Tony.
Yes, ma'am. And this was, dear family, this article right here was published on May 25th, 2023 by ABC News. It says all, not some, not a few, not the majority, but all 123 U.S. federal prisons need maintenance. And this is according to the Inspector General. And this is ABC News reported this study. The article reads, the 123 federal prisons in the United States need roughly $2 billion worth of maintenance, and most are aging and deteriorating. And I'm gonna put a little side note. When you have these kind of conditions, disease spreads very easily. Family, what they found was a lot of conditions that were very unsanitary when conditions were deteriorating. And this is according to the Department of Justice Inspector General. The DOJ Inspector General Michael Horowitz told Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas, we're seeing crumbling prisons. We're seeing buildings that we go into that have actually holes in the ceilings in multiple places. leading to damages to kitchens, to doctors' offices, to gymnasiums, and they're not being fixed. We're seeing buildings that we go into that have actually holes in the ceilings in multiple places, leading to damages to kitchens, to doctors' offices, to gymnasiums, and they're not being fixed. Much of these conditions, by many standards, would be considered to be unsanitary, susceptible to the spread of disease. And so we're going to be talking a bit about this tonight, and how the system, the prison system itself, is really not equipped to even manage itself, as we are experiencing literally the fall of America right before our eyes. And so I hand it back over to you, Sister Michelle.
Okay, yes, sir. And I'm going to reiterate 1, 2, 3. 120. There was a point I was trying to make.
We ended 2023 with 1, 2, 3.
No, that's a huge number.
Absolutely.
That's a huge number. So thank you, Brother Tony. So we're going to start off by reading some of our bios of some of our guests on the show this evening. And so I am going to start with our sister, Marsha McIntyre Lowe. Miss Marsha is a Jacksonville native and began her journey as a mother at 17 and has been a dedicated, quote unquote, mama bear to her 4 boys. Affectionately known as Ma Dukes, has spent her life nurturing and empowering young people, fostering self-worth, and guiding them in exploring their talents beyond Duval County. Marsha established Esther's House, and it was inspired by her godmother, Zelma Dickerson's vision. I guess that was her godmother's vision. So she brought her godmother's vision to life, providing essential classes for at-risk girls to become productive members of society. After her son survived a tragic shooting in 2023, Marsha expanded Esther's House to support families with children who are victims of gun violence, filling a crucial gap in available assistance. That's our sister Marsha. So I'm going to turn it over to Brother Mark to introduce our second guest.
Yes, ma'am. Our second guest is Brother Kurt Muhammad. Brother Kurt's life is a journey from adversity to redemption. Raised in a challenging environment, he became a product of his surroundings, leading to a 50-year prison sentence. However, prison became a transformative sanctuary. Over 14 years, he conquered addiction, gained literacy, found spirituality, and embraced the Nation of Islam. In 2023, after 17 years of freedom, he is a proud parent and an active member in the Nation of Islam. He founded a nonprofit that advocates for incarcerated individuals. His story embodies the power of resilience and positive change. Turn it back over to you, Sister Michelle.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And so for our last guest, our third guest, our sister Felicia will read his bio.
All right. Brother Rashad Shabazz. Rashad Shabazz has transformed his life through steadfast dedication to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Currently serving as the secretary and paralegal for the Nation of Islam's 7th Region Prison Reform Ministry in Fort Myers, Florida. His journey is marked by significant personal transformation. Formerly incarcerated in the Florida Department of Corrections, Rashad spent over 26 years in prison before his release in 2021. This experience, however, did not define him. Instead, it fueled his determination to contribute positively to society. Upon his release, Rashad embarked upon the entrepreneurial path, founding Shabazz Labs LLC. And Labs is an acronym for Life, Art, Business, Social. This halal holding company is a testament to his vision and commitment to ethical business practices. Currently, he is at the forefront of developing America's first five-star halal restaurant, showcasing his innovative spirit. Rashad's academic achievements are equally impressive. He graduated with honors in the field of law, a remarkable feat that led to his induction into the International Honor Society, Delta Epsilon Tau. His history is one of resilience, transformation, and unwavering dedication to his community and faith. So let's bring him up. Bring him up. Bring him up.
All right,
Bring 'em
here
up.
we go.
There we go.
All right, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well,
Hello.
Assalamualaikum.
Greetings,
Wa alaikum
greetings.
salam, sir.
So it is a pleasure to have you all on Thursday Night Talks. It is really our honor to have you here. It is our honor to hear your story, Sis Marsha. And it is really, really, I believe, going to be a benefit for any mother, any grandmother, anybody that had to experience or is experiencing what you're going through. And we're going to give you some time to talk about it. And hopefully we can get Sister Kalila back on. But before we even get started, I want to thank also to Brother Rashad for being on the show this evening, and Brother Kirk.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome, sister. You're welcome.
Absolutely. And I believe your insights, your experience, and advice and recommendations will absolutely go very far this evening.
Praise be to
And I'm
Allah.
again hoping, that we will absolutely bless the audience with information that absolutely they can use. So we will not belabor the message. And so since we're waiting for Sister Kalila, we can absolutely get started. Sister Felicia.
yes.
If you want to go ahead and take the first question until our dear Sister Kalila gets back on.
Okay. Sister Marsha,
Yes. Hi.
how are you?
I am doing well.
Awesome. So grateful
Absolutely.
for you to be here with us. So tell us, who is Cameron?
Oh man. So I get excited every time I can speak about my son because he is an amazing young man. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a mama bear. But he is an amazing young man. Cameron was a college student when the incident happened, and he was attending Bethune-Cookman College on 3 scholarships. He had an academic scholarship, a athletic scholarship, as well as a music scholarship. He is an artist. He is all over SoundCloud. He is anointed. He's just an amazing young. No mother could have asked for a better son. Not that it wouldn't have broken my heart for any of my children, but Cameron is just one who has a heart for people. He has always helped people. And during his ordeal, there was a teacher that called in to speak on his behalf all the way from Korea. One of his high school teachers, and she wanted to speak because she said that he pretty much saved her life. There was a race war that broke out, and she was a Caucasian teacher, but he literally jumped in front of the students that had broken her nose and broken her arm. And that's the kid he is. So it just makes it 10 times worse for him to be going through something like this. But He has faith. I mean, the faith that he has shown through this process, he has kept me going.
Yeah.
So that's who Cameron is.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yes, yes. Sister Felicia, go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So our next question is, as a proud mother of an honor roll student, what are your expectations for Cameron's future?
You know, I believe that he has a bright future. I believe that my sister told him one day that a delay is not a denial. And so we believe that this is just a delay for him. He is still going to be able to accomplish. He wants to be a motivational speaker.
Okay.
And so he's still going to be able to accomplish, you know, all that he wants to do. He just now has a lot more to speak about. He has a lot more to encourage people on. And again, we don't know why God had us going this journey, but we have to believe in our faith that it is for his good, it's for my good, it's for my other boys' good, that his story is going to one day touch someone. Even if he saves one person, you know, then we've accomplished what God wanted us to accomplish.
Yes, give thanks. Yeah.
Give
Praise be
thanks.
to Allah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to take the next question, Sis Marsha. Moving more into a little bit beyond where you are now, or where you were at the moment with your son, Cameron. What specific incidents or experiences led to his arrest, conviction, and now the call for justice in his case?
So Cameron was never convicted. Cameron was in a situation where it was wrong place, wrong time. He got a call to go with someone to try and purchase some weed, and he went to his friend and introduced the two people. Long story short, they got in the car, and the person that he did not know shot his friend. And everyone in the car was charged with that murder. He was arrested on campus. They went into his class and arrested him. And he went through that process with having to wait through COVID and go through that process and sitting in jail. And, you know, the judicial system has a way people. So the longer he sat in there, he was only 19 when this happened. So he got weary. And, you know, when they come to you, we paid an attorney a lot of money to fight for our son. And then finally she decided, I don't think I can beat this case. Now, she was the top of the line attorney. She won Casey Anthony's case, you know, and so she said, I don't think I can win this case. He should take a plea. Well, I refused the plea. So she went out to the jail and she convinced my son that the plea was the best thing for him. Told him that you're a man, your mom can't live for you. She's not in this jail. And she guaranteed that he would get 9 years, a first-time offenders program, which would cover 9 years. And by then he had already been in there almost 5. And so he decided to plead guilty. He pled guilty. We got to the sentencing and he got before the judge. And instead of giving him the first-time offenders program that we were promised, she gave him 20 years.
Oh my God.
The last thing she said to us was, I know you didn't do anything, but because you introduced these people, you were the domino that started the effect. So I'm going to give you 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
And so this was at the courthouse. I collapsed in the hallway, and my attorney, who I paid all of this money to, walked past me and looked down and said, "Oh, Marsha, get up."
What?
And kept
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Wow.
Yes. So we started the appeal process, but of course, he's not able to appeal because he's not mentally competent anymore to even appeal his case.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's go into a little bit more because you just mentioned a key word. He's not now mentally capable
Mhm.
or has a capacity, I should say, to be able to kind of go through a whole appeal process. So let me ask you, when did you observe in specific instances where Cameron's health was declining or, being jeopardized due to things that were happening within the prison system? Was it inadequate health care? Like what happened? What instances did you see that you started to notice that something was going wrong with your son's health?
So Cameron would call home, and this started for Cameron in the Duval County Jail. Cameron would call home and complain about not feeling well, head hurting, being sick. And then he called one day and said that they gave him a shot in his arm and it was hurting and it was breaking out. Well, we thought that it was a COVID vaccine. We later found out that it was a TB test and that the TB test did what it was supposed to do and it reacted and caused his arm to break out. He called, and every time he would call and tell me he didn't feel well, I would call the jail. I would try to get to a lieutenant. I would call the nurses. And after a while, one of the inmates called me and said that Cameron had collapsed in the cell. I immediately rushed to the jail. Stood out, I need someone. They would not come out to address me, but they sent a message that they were going to see what was going on and that make sure he was okay. Cameron called and said all they did was give him Tylenol. And that led to, he was never treated. He went to Lake Butler. Then he went to his permanent camp, which is Wakulla. And then every visit, I could see him gradually losing weight. And then he would start slurring his speech. And then he would start kind of not remembering things. My son went from 180 pounds to 98 pounds.
Oh my God.
And so after a while, he couldn't walk. The guards would have to push him in a wheelchair. I called the prison 236 times, talking to the healthcare administrator, anybody that I could talk to. I've talked to the warden, begging them to just take him to a hospital. You guys can't figure out what's going on with him. They told me, everything. They told me he had a sexually transmitted disease. They told me he had, everything they could think of. And finally, I was called by one of the lieutenants on his personal cell phone. And he said, if you don't get help for your son, he's going to die.
Oh my God.
And the next day I posted on Facebook and I posted the phone number. I asked everyone to please call this number, demand that he gets taken to a hospital. And it was shared and thousands of people start calling the prison. And because it got so much attention, they then rushed my son to the hospital. But by then it was too late. The TB had taken over his entire body. And it was now on his brain. It was in his spine. It was everywhere in his body. And so once they got him to the hospital, he had discovered a lump a month or two before. They took him to the hospital and told the hospital he had cancer in his testicle. I got a call saying that they were going to remove his testicle, that he had cancer. I then told them my son does not have cancer. I just happened to actually be on the phone with one of the state representatives for Florida, and I connected her on the call. And she was listening, and they said, well, we're going to have to castrate him, remove his testicle. And at that time, my other son had just been shot. I was emotional. I was not thinking, and I'm on the road. And I said, whatever you need to do to save my son. And the representative jumped in. And she said, no, you do not touch him. She said, you don't castrate him. You do not have permission. And so luckily she was on the phone, but then they called me back later to tell me that my son was a property of the state, that I really didn't have a say-so. And so they did. They castrated him and removed his testicle, and then called me back the next week to tell me that I was right. It was never cancer. It was a part of the TB. And so
It's going bad to worse. Okay, go ahead.
And so they sent him back into the prison system with a strict regimen to treat the TB. And that was December 16th of 2022. The prison never gave him his medicine. December 31st, my son was found unresponsive and had to be rushed back to the hospital and was in ICU. And so I was literally traveling from Jacksonville, Florida's ICU to Tallahassee's ICU. And then one of the doctors in Jacksonville heard about the story, requested that my son be transferred to Jacksonville so that I could have both of my sons in one place. And so they did. And he was in the hospital for roughly about 8 months. And then they sent him back into the prison system, and the prison system is now saying we can't treat him. Now he has, they said, more lesions on his brain that they can even count. And now he has a mass on his brain. And they're saying we can't treat him. There's nothing we can do for him. But the state of Florida denied him coming home on a compassionate medical release so that he can be treated by a doctor. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. I'm in shock. I'm at loss of words. I'm so sorry. I am literally at a loss of words. I can't even imagine what you're feeling at the moment as you tell the story, because it's insane.
It's like a bad dream.
It really is. I can't, the fact that they know what they were doing and they did it anyway. I think that's the fact that,
Right.
There's no compassion, and and it goes down to the question of, that's how they think about us,
I went on a hearing with the commissioner, the board that determines, and approves and denies the compassionate release. And they allowed me 10 minutes to speak. I spoke, my pastor spoke, and my mother spoke. And it took them less than 10 seconds to say denied.
Wow.
As if they already knew going into this that we're going to deny this. It doesn't, even though they caused it and they know they caused it. I spoke to someone in the Department of Justice, and she told me I should be glad because my son should have been dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some words, but probably won't be appropriate at this moment. So I'm going to digress. I'm a pause for a minute. So let's. I'm gonna turn this over to Brother Tony, because I want to bring in that perspective. For the question is for Brother Rashad.
Right.
So, Brother
We want to get some testimony from some of our brothers that have gone through the belly of the beast and have experienced that type of injustice and have witnessed it right before their eyes, Sister Michelle. And Sister Marsha, your family is in my prayers and our prayers over here, and we're going to see what we can produce through this podcast and through the work that we are doing here in the Nation of Islam, because we want justice for our people. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wants justice for our people.
Thank you.
And that's what we desire for you, dear sister. And Brother Rashad, I'd like to highlight this book right over here by Harriet Washington, which is Medical Apartheid. And in this book, I strongly recommend that everyone read this book, take time to read this book, because in it goes into the history of experimentation of Black people, and also it mentions Latinos, people in South America, in African countries, in very vulnerable places that are subject to experimentation. And aside from that, the prison system historically has been subject to the people that have been locked up, particularly Black inmates, have been subject to experimentation. Brother Rashad, can you elaborate a bit on Cameron's experience from what you heard as a victim of neglect, highlighted in the 2019 Boston University study that we just went over a little while ago, and the TB infection rates that has spread throughout not just prisons in America, but all over the world?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, dear family.
Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam, sir.
In the most holy and perfect name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness to no God except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger and servant. Sister Marsha, I spent 26 calendar years, day for day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, in the Florida Department of Corrections. I was a model inmate due to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the life-saving example of Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I was always given jobs that were what they call upfront. I worked for wardens, I worked for the majors, I worked for the administrative lieutenants, I worked in classification, I worked in all the areas of the prison system where there was sensitive information, or high security areas where other inmates weren't allowed unless they were given a pass to go there. And throughout all of these years and days of incarceration, I have to tell you that the situation of your son is not a novel one. It's not even unique. There are so many other men and women in the Florida Department of Corrections right now who are suffering as he suffers. Maybe not as much, but they have gone through similar situations with the medical staff and the medical department of the Florida Department of Corrections, which I stand here today to tell the world that it's a chop shop. I had a massive heart attack in 2017 while I was incarcerated in the Florida Department of Corrections, and I was sent to an outside hospital for open heart surgery, which they did a double bypass on my artery. When I returned to the prison from the hospital, I was subject to the exact same situation that your son is subject to right now. The medical staff are just there to work 8 hours a day, now 12 hours a day, to get their paycheck and go home. There's no care. There's no deliverance from the sicknesses and ailments that they suffer in prison, the inmates suffer. Lake Butler, where your son is the state prison hospital. At that particular prison, the death rate of inmates on a daily basis from neglect is so high that the federal government had to send in undercover agents to investigate the prison to see if they were being murdered or just being left to die in the hallways of that state hospital. And so when I heard of your situation, I saw it for what it really was. It's murder. It's torture. It's cruel and unusual punishment. And the way that you would have to attack this from your standpoint is that you need to demand that the Florida Department of Corrections turn over to you and your family all of your son's medical records, every single page, everything that they have ever done to him in the way of medical treatment. The Duval County Jail, you need to get those same medical records from the Duval County Jail and then file a complaint with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Medical Department. filed a complaint medically, because when you go after the Florida Department of Corrections for neglect, they have a wall of silence that is so thick, and they cooperate so well from prison to prison that they'll throw you to one prison and the situation is at another prison. They'll tell you one thing on the telephone, but then they'll do something else to cover that up behind your back. And so we're really dealing with a wicked system. 26 calendar years in the Florida Department of Corrections, I suffered 4 heart attacks there. I didn't receive these heart attacks until I was at the end of my incarceration period. For about 24 years, I was in Division I athlete shape. I mean, my physical shape was so impressive that it was admirable, even from the staff and the inmates. And then they systematically began to bring me little food stuff. Hey, you want some steak? Here's some potatoes. Here's a fruit drink. I didn't know that they were slowly poisoning me into a heart attack, slowly poisoning me into heart failure through my food. And this is something that they systematically do to men who are out front in leadership positions. Your son has shown great intelligence before he ever went to jail. Your son had 3 scholarships to a college. Your son showed signs of leadership that COINTELPRO looks for. COINTELPRO, they scans Black America for men and women who show signs of great leadership so that they can poison them out of existence, so they can kill them and murder them, so that they won't lead our people into a greater day. And so my testimony to you, dear sister, is that the Nation of Islam Prison Reform Ministry, which is headed by student National Minister, Prison Reform Minister Abdullah Muhammad, we're here with you. We're here for you, not only in our prayers, but we're going to have boots on the ground for you. We're going to have boots on the ground wherever you need us to be at to help and support you and your family, and pray to God and call upon God to bring justice for your son.
Thank you.
Wow.
You know, I want to actually highlight Brother Rashad. Brother Rashad gave me a very exclusive and detailed call to action for your system. And when I say this call to this action plan that they have designed for you, sister, I need to hire you as my attorney, because this call to action is so beautiful and so outlined that
Come on.
this is coming from a person that loves unconditionally, been through the system and still fighting for the system for your son. So, brother, I applaud you. And later on, we'll definitely look at that call to action momentarily. You know, but I definitely have a question for Brother Kurt. You know, now that we are giving these life-giving teachings, giving your recent report on potential under treatment and chronic health conditions in the United States prison, particularly due to inadequate staffing and funding. Brother Kurt, can you share your firsthand insight on your challenges that you faced it incarcerated individually as it relates to proper health care?
Yes, ma'am. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Well, surely, Florida, after hearing Sister Marsha's, after you telling me about the sister's situation with her son, there, I mean, Florida has a different type of beast there. I mean, I have never heard. I was incarcerated went in 92 and got out in 2006. So I did 14 calendars. And then out of my 14 calendars, and I've been out 17 years. This year in March will be 18 years. I have not heard anything to that degree of torture. The medical staff here in Arkansas It's horrible. We're not going to lie. We're fighting it now. But the how the system here. Let me just explain this. The system here is if the child would have never been, your son would have never been denied the type of medical attention that they've been denied in Florida, because everything that you would have needed here, because anybody's on a incarcerated, and I don't like to use the word inmate and convict to express those who are incarcerated. I use like incarcerated persons, but any incarcerated person in Arkansas, a family member on their emergency contact becomes their power of attorney, right? So you would have had access to what they call had the ability and the leeway to call the chaplain for a spiritual awareness update. So the thing that they got going on in Florida is just slightly different here, you know. But the thing is I noticed, and I'm listening to what's being said, and what Brother Rashad said about the 26 years that he was incarcerated, and what you're saying about Sister Khalil, what Sister Marsha is saying about the things that her son went through. Here in Arkansas, we was fighting against the 13th Amendment, right, to get the except out of the clause. You know, slavery doesn't exist except you catch a felony and become a felon, right? So it seems like that the beast that y'all are dealing with in Florida is a totally different beast that's programmed to see those who are incarcerated as slaves. Because anybody tell you that you don't have the authority or the power of attorney over your son when he's incapacitated or not able to comprehend accurately is something different. I'm not understanding it from my position. You know, that's just something Brother Rashad may understand a little bit better, but I don't know how they got around the power of attorney in order to go in and castrate your son after you told him to stand down. I don't understand how the compassion for release was denied when they know he has he's dying from the disease that he contracted in the institution. And I'm not understanding all of that, other than the fact that y'all are dealing with a different type of beast here. I mean, because if I have a loved one in prison here, and I made 2 or 3 phone calls, you know, to the Board of Corrections, or I deal with the wardens and go all the way down, and then if I can't deal with that system, then I go all the way up to the Board of Corrections. And if I can't deal with that system, I have an open door policy, so I can go down here to the Attorney General. I already know somebody who knows the governor, so I'm not understanding the process there, but it's just a different beast. And I pray for you, my dear sister, and the brothers and the sisters there, because y'all have a fight that we don't have here. Although your brother, the enemy of your brother, the brother there is the same enemy here. It's just to a different and a greater degree, man. And my heart is broken to hear what has happened to that young brother at the hands of the enemy, our open enemy. It's a sad situation, but the mental health situation here is probably worse than the physical, because somebody who needs mental health attention, because we only have one mental health facility here in the state of in Little Rock, that is. They was, instead of sending them to a mental health institution, they would send them to prison, right? So we have a gang of brothers, not just blacks, but whites, Hispanics, and who may have mental health issues, but they're incarcerated, right? So the suicide rate in Arkansas is something different than probably in Florida. People are probably being murdered in Florida, lack of medical attention, but here it's a suicide situation because of the mental health issues that we are dealing with here. So right now we have the governor and the board, the governor and the director of the Board of Corrections at odds right now because of the overcrowding. The board, the governor wants to add more beds to the facility with the crowding, with the facilities already being overcrowded. So it becomes a issue for a legal issue here. So the mental health and being treated like slaves, right? Because we work for free here. We don't get paid, but the medical issue is a little bit different here than in Florida, and I don't know how to address that issue. The other than a collaborated effort, the Nation of Islam coming together with other grassroots organizations and
Yes, sir.
learning the importance of understanding the system, because that's one is the issue that I hope Brother Rashad and the team there addressed is how did they go around the power of attorney, right? What reason did they deny the compassion for release, knowing that he has a fatal illness? So it's just Sister Khalil, it's a different beast there that y'all are dealing with. It's a totally different beast than what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a beast. But the two beasts are the fangs there are a little bit sharper than the fangs here. So my heart goes out to you guys there, man, because you have a real fight. But there's anything that I can do or we can do here to assist, I'm always willing to do all that I can, because this is what I do.
Wow.
Praises be to Allah. And since you mentioned that outline, I wanted to also look at, this is pretty much the outline that our dear brother has put together for our dear sister in regards to attacking and exposing and basically really dealing with this head on. So this outline is a very beautiful outline. It actually details the, from the beginning to what Brother Rashad was indicating, all the way down to what we are pretty much fighting for at this particular moment. And like I said, this outline is so detailed. I said, my God, brother, Brother Rashad, you will think that this is his son, but it is our son. It is our, our nephew.
Right.
It is,
right.
Someone who we love, even though we don't know them personally, we do know them personally.
Right.
And so that's what we do. We fight for people that we know that can't fight for themselves. So this is a beautiful outline that our dear brother Rashad has came up with to start that execution, to make sure that everything is getting done and is getting taken care of for our dear brother that's incarcerated. So I wanted to highlight that as well.
So I just, so I can jump in really quick, I do have all of Cameron's medical records from every institution that he was in. I originally had an attorney who advertised as a civil rights attorney, Caucasian attorney, and he literally called me and told me that I needed to find another civil rights attorney that could do Cameron's case some justice, because they have grossly mishandled him. And he said, they have done so much to your son, my firm couldn't do you any justice. So wow. He gave me all of his medical records, probably about 300 to 400 pages of his medical records. And he put some sticky notes and bullet points, and they mailed it to me so that I can find another attorney.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So we're gonna go to
Brother Mark.
To the next question. Brother Mark.
Okay, yeah, this next question is for Brother Kurt, and may have touched on this a little bit, but could you give us what specific instances of abuse in the prison industrial complex does Justice for Cameron aim to expose?
Can you repeat that again, brother, for me?
No problem. Yes, sir. Yeah, we have this these abuses in the prison industrial complex. So can you give any specific instances that Justice for Cameron aims to expose of those abuses?
The abuse that in his situation is so great too. The only thing that I'm sitting here trying to understand is the how did they get around the power of attorney, right? She have all the medical records. They've been telling him that she told him them to stand down. They did not stand down. So addressing that issue, right? If Ms. Marshall, you take that issue and how they strip you of your power of attorney, right? That becomes your leverage for the compassion for release situation. Then it becomes a strategy, right? But going for the compassion for release, since they're feeling like that he's a slave and he's a ward of the state, getting to the core of how did they deny you the power of attorney over your son when he's at a state to where I think I've heard you say, or Sister Kalila, when somebody say that he was in the mental capacity of a 10-year-old, right?
Yep.
But if we're going to get that addressed and make them focused on that, then you can use that as leverage to get him out for compassion for release. But it have to be done expeditionally. But that is your target. That is what you address, because they had no right to castrate him. They had no right to have surgery on him. They had no right to do anything to him that you did not want to be done to him without your approval. So that is the power. That is the pressure point that you need to apply, and then you'll get the rest of the results that you're 9 times out of 10, inshallah, that you're looking for.
So just to clarify, the doctor from the hospital, Tallahassee Medical Center, is the one that told me that basically he came in here through the prison. So it's up to the prison to make that determination. It wasn't the prison system. It was the actual hospital that he was at that stated that to me. As well as a week before that, the prison had taken him to the hospital to be castrated without my knowledge. And one of the prison guards that they sent with him asked the doctor, what procedure. And they said, we're going to remove his testicle. And the prison guard stopped him and said, no, you can't do that without consent from his family. And he stopped it at that point and took him back to the complex. But they sent him back to have it done. And it was the doctor from the hospital that told me he was a property of the state.
Wow. So there was some intention.
Absolutely.
Right. But they still, somebody had to sign up. Even with that, the hospital would not have made that move, right? Unless the ADC, the Florida Department of FDC signed off for that. Right. Somebody had it's never here. I'm saying here is never a time to where when a person is not the mental capacity to care for themselves, that they do not reach out to two. You have two people, and there could be any family members. I used to, in order to deal with the issues dealing with some of the guys in prison for their family members, I had to be added to their emergency contact list. It's going to be always when it's time to a situation is need to be addressed. And from that perspective, it's going to always be somebody on the emergency contact list that is called for before anything go to that extreme, right? Like I'm saying, I don't know how they did it, right? I don't understand how they did it, but that question there, that issue there is what is sharp in me, right? Because what they're telling me is they just took your son and consider him a ward of the state and did what they wanted to do with him as if he's really a slave. Absolutely. Right? So we most definitely, Brother Rashad, we most definitely need to figure out how they did that, right? Because it's not right. They don't have the power to do that. They don't have the power to do that. They don't have the power to give the hospital the permission to castrate your son. and he's not of he's of the not of the mental capacity to agree himself. They don't have the power to do that. I don't care what in the United States, the Constitution won't allow it. One thing that you don't lose when you go to prison is your constitutional rights. You may lose, we may lose our state rights, but we don't lose our constitutional rights. It becomes a constitutional violation for them to feel like they can just do what they want to do to your son because he is truly a ward of the state, but he does not lose his constitutional right because in reality, he's still a citizen in the United States of America. So please address that issue. And then in that issue, you'll ask for your compassion for release. We cannot get his testicle back, right? But we can get him, apply the right pressure and get him out so that he can live the rest of his life out here with you and the rest of his family. So that is the most important thing that I see today is getting him out of that institution, right. And finding a link to that problem is the loophole that you'll need to get him out. Because I mean, I tell people all the time here in the state of Arkansas, you have so many people that's being employed. You have correction officers, you have wardens, you have medical staff, you have mental health counselors. There's so many people being employed by the ADC here in the state of Arkansas. So the ADC is basically stronger than the Holy Ghost here, right? Because the politician is going to keep it in working order because so many people are getting paid for it. And not just that, the prison and industrial complexes is on the stock market. So it's a power that be, but if we apply the right pressure in the right places, they'll let go, right? They're not going to take the chance of being fully exposed, people being fired, losing their jobs, losing their position to hold him in there, and they feel like his life is over with anyway. So we need to find out who made that decision. Trace that down, who made that decision, and you can get your son home.
Okay. Wow. Praise be to God.
Okay.
Sister Felicia.
Yes. So everybody inhale and exhale. Woo. Woo.
Yeah.
Giving thanks and praise. Yes. So this question is for Brother Rashad. And with the advocacy efforts that you're aware of currently that are underway or planned to seek for inmates like Cameron and address the broader issue of abuse in the prison systems, what are some of those efforts?
The advocacy efforts, dear sister?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you're dealing with situations like this, it's not a box set solution because every situation is unique. So as we hear of these incidences in the Florida Department of Corrections and even the federal prison system, we have to assess the truth of every situation, the facts that are provable through documentation or other evidence. And then based upon that, this is how we determine how we're going to advocate. The number one tool that we have is the Final Call newspaper. To put these issues in print so that the world can read them and see them and become aware. And Almighty God Allah, He created a human being, the original people, with compassion as a part of our DNA. So that when we hear of suffering and pain of other persons, we have empathy. We have a part of our genetic makeup that allows us to feel their pain. So when we put these situations in the Final Call newspaper and then we present them to the public in platforms such as this, all the social media platforms, then the public will raise their voice together, collectively. And the attention that is put on this situation, that'll cause all of those who colluded together to try to hide the incident, you will see them throw each other under the bus to save themselves.
Oh, yeah.
This is written in scripture. That man will throw his family under the bus to spare himself on that day. So we need to raise our voices. We need to sound the alarm, to blow the trumpet, as the symbol of the Final Call newspaper. Advocacy takes many forms. Some of us have platforms like this. Other people, you love to be in these video chat rooms. As you're in these rooms with other people around the world, say, hey, have you heard of such and such, or this brother or this sister situation? Spread the word. through your family members and friends, grassroots. That's always the most powerful because it can't be controlled. They can control NBC, ABC, and Fox and all the other media outlets, but they can't control word of mouth. So we have to get out on the corner and bring this situation to the public in that way. The Christian pastors, especially those who are in Duval County, in Jacksonville, and around the world, you need to use your churches for the medium so that the people who come to church to hear the word of God also hear the situation of the world that we live in. This has always been I'm trying to find the right word. The mosque, the church, the temple, the synagogue. This is the purpose, so that we can come together as a society, communicate with each other about what we're suffering in our homes and our communities, and then find solutions to the problems. But one thing that I must say is that, dear sister Marsha, our regional representative, prison reform coordinator for the 7th region, Brother Zachariah Muhammad, he asked me to remind you to remember his promise to you, that he will be there with you wherever you are, whenever you need him, wherever you need him. And that goes for all of us who are in the 7th region, even in the Nation of Islam around the world, and our staff. You know, we're here for you, we're here with you. We're going to do everything that we can to get this information out to the public. And it didn't start right here, right now, but this platform is another launching pad for the brothers and sisters who are watching around the world and around the country right now. Get on your phones, go to Facebook, put his name out there, Cameron McIntyre. Make the world know his name.
Yes, that's
but
right.
The good thing about it, dear sister, is he hasn't passed. He's alive.
Right.
And as long as he has life in his body, there's an opportunity for us to receive him home. But the pressure must be political as well as social. So your politicians that you deal with in your city, you put pressure on them, you contact them, you call them, you tell them to raise their voices. And lastly, I want to make sure that people understand the language. I want to read you the specific language of Florida Statute 947.149, which deals with this compassionate release situation. Listen to this. An inmate is eligible for consideration. An inmate is eligible for consideration for release under the Conditional Medical Release Program when the inmate, because of an existing medical or physical condition, is determined by the department to be permanently incapacitated or terminally ill. So this clear language here is that it is the Florida Department of Corrections medical staff who has to make that terminally ill or permanently incapacitated determination. If a doctor does it at an outside hospital or an independent doctor does it somewhere else in the clinic, then according to this language, that is not a considering factor in making a determination to release your son up under this medical compassion release.
Right.
So we need the Florida Department of Corrections medical staff to make this determination themselves and revisit this issue. Because your son can't defend, he can't defend himself. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So it was the medical doctor at Lake Butler that started the paperwork for the medical release. He deemed him necessary to come home, not an outside physician. It was the doctors at the prison that said, we can't care for him. They started the paperwork. I did absolutely nothing. They started the paperwork. They sent it off. They called me, asked me if I had a hospital bed for him, if I had a wheelchair for him, to get his clothes ready, everything. And once it got to the commission board, they denied it.
Did they leave you with a reason for the denial?
They gave me no reason, which is what shocked me. They gave me no reason. Like I said, it took them 10 seconds to say denied, denied, denied. They didn't give me a reason. They didn't say, we'll revisit this in another year. They didn't give me any explanation. They just denied it.
Right.
And there was a...
Do you have any documentation or paperwork? Go ahead, dear sister.
And there was a representative from the sheriff's office in Jacksonville that spoke against my son coming home. when they're the ones that caused it in the first place. But he spoke against him coming home.
Was this a medical person who spoke, or was this a correctional officer? Or security personnel?
It was just a detective speaking on the behalf of the sheriff's office.
Okay. Do you have the documentation where they, the doctor for the Florida Department of Corrections, do you have the paperwork that he or she submitted stating that your son is terminally ill or medically incapacitated?
I don't have any of the paperwork that started it. No, I don't have any of that. I just have the letter from the commission board saying that they're going to hear his case on what day, what time, and all of that stuff.
See,
But
Brother Rashad, right?
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
see, Brother Rashad, we're dealing with injustice. So with injustice, you're dealing with a whole bunch of holes that is not connecting. Right now, we're trying to bring awareness and we're trying to bring a connection to this, and we're going to bring it today. It's not going to stop here. It only is going to begin here, but it's going to end with justice. So, brother, with all due respect, we're going to make sure it happens, because right now you're dealing with you're doing your job, Brother Rashad, and I respect that. But right now, we need to get justice for our dear brother. We need to make sure that, like I said, the alarm is ringing. We're going to do whatever we can on our end. We're going to have press conferences. We're going to do everything that we can. But, brother, we're going to make sure that you will do your part as it relates to making sure that every detail, every T is crossed, and every I is dotted. We're going to make sure of that. Guaranteed. So we're going to. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just to address Brother Rashad earlier in regards to our own media, he referenced the Final Call newspaper. We absolutely do need a story about this in the Final Call.
Absolutely, they already own it.
Brother Clifton here in Miami, right? Brother Clifton asked the question: can this case be taken to the national media on this matter and the governor's office itself? Well, efforts are already being made. Brother Michael, who also works in prison reform ministry here in the 7th region, commented to Brother Clifton earlier. And if I could make a commercial, not interruption, but announcement in regards to this, our beloved brother Richard Muhammad, Naba Muhammad, he commented in the chat, make sure to tune in next Tuesday night as Straight Words with Naba Muhammad, BJ Murphy, and James G. Muhammad, as we host Sister Marsha and have her share more about Cameron's plight. We are on next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. That's Central Standard Time at WVON AM 1690 Chicago, the Heart Radio app, and WVON.com. Be sure to tune in to that because we support our sister. We love our sister. We love Cameron, and we want to see justice performed by them. We have to go first. We have to go to our own, and we have to support our own. And we have to be our own media today. And that's what I would have to say about that. And I'll turn it over to you, Sister Khalil.
Praises be to Allah. Well, we're going to go right into Sister Michelle's question, because right now we want to actually, again, we already know what time it is. We already know we already know what our instructions are, and we already know what our assignment is. And we're going to go right to Sister Michelle with the last question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Kalila.
Yes,
Sister Marsha, this is my question for you. How can the public actively contribute to and support the Justice for Cameron's cause, whether it's through awareness raisings, which we just talked about, activism, or other means? I don't know if you have something maybe set up, but what can the public actively contribute to or support the cause for justice for your son?
So I'm going to say this because I don't quite know how to answer that question, because again, I've shared with several people that I'm so overwhelmed at the support that you guys have given me, because I've been dealing with this almost 6 years, and I've not gotten this much support in 6 years. Of course, it's been me and my mother for the most part. And we do what we can in making calls and, reaching out to the governor's office and state representatives. And I talked to my mayor for 45 minutes, over the phone. And she was very heartbroken, and she asked, what is it that I can do? And at that time, I had no clue, what to do, where to start, and I agree with Brother Rashad, just get a platform, getting the word out, making Cameron's name known on a national level. Because again, I agree, if it gets to the right ear, then maybe something can get done. I only believe that our governor probably have no clue, what's going on as far as my son's situation. And, if he is in the process of running for a presidency, this is not something that he needs, to be exposed,
Right.
in Florida. He's trying to be the president. So, if we could get to him and get to, the governor to say, hey, listen, this could hurt your campaign. Maybe he will do something. And I believe that he will, because, we have what's called that crazy faith that we don't know how God is going to move. I was sharing with Kalila, I showed up for my godmother's funeral, and my god sister is a part of the Nation of Islam. And I just happened to God said, start talking. And that's what I did. I started talking, and me talking got all of this emotion. And so, just keeping Cameron's name out there. I want his name to ring. I want it on a national platform, even on the news. I'm a very private person, but at this point, I will go, I was going to go camp out after they denied him. My intentions was to get a plane ticket and go to Washington and camp out at the White House until someone want to know, what am I there for?
Right.
And, whatever I need to do to get my son home. He's not a lap dog or a lap rat or someone who can just cut on and all of those things. They said the doctor went to him and asked for his permission to use his case as a test study.
Wow.
And he said to them, I can't sign anything without my mom's permission, because he literally is mentally like a 10-year-old.
Right.
And he said, I can't sign anything without my mom's permission. And so he called me immediately and said, Mom, they want me to sign this form, and he read the form to me. And I said, absolutely not. Don't sign anything. You have them give me a call. And they won't ever call me. But so they go to him to try to get him to sign different things. But but yeah, just whatever we can do to get the word out and make some noise for my son.
As you were speaking, I thought to myself, you should definitely think about putting together a petition to get people to sign up. I don't know what that magic number is before it can be sent. Maybe Brother Rashad or Brother Kirk, since they're working with you, maybe that can be an option for you, is getting a petition to get it heard. Definitely doing GoFundMe's and those types of things, again, brings attention for your son. And calling up local radio stations and television, Channel 7, anything that will start the ball rolling can be avenues for you to be able to get your son's name out there and start to generate some talk and some curiosity, because that's what it's going to take. But think about starting with a petition, because that will start in itself that momentum, and it'll keep going and going. And then anytime you go onto these platforms, you can absolutely say, if you don't know, go sign that petition because we want to get it to the governor. And if he doesn't listen, then we're going to move up the chain and keep going until someone hears my voice. And when you hit a certain number, they can't ignore it. And if it gets high enough, right, you can get it to the president's desk. He absolutely will have to respond to it, because this is a critical time for him as well.
Right.
In this particular, in this environment, they don't want anything that would come out to look unfavorably to their quote unquote minorities in this particular country. So that's what I would suggest. If you haven't thought about it, maybe those are some of the things that you should think about.
Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sister Kalila, you're up.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You know, the beautiful thing about this is awareness. But I know that every other family, you know what, to be honest with you, I can honestly say this. Every family in the world has had someone that's been incarcerated.
That's right.
That either knows somebody that has been incarcerated or has been affected by someone that has been incarcerated, and actually in constant contact with somebody who's been incarcerated. My brother has been incarcerated. We actually did his time with him for the past 20 years. He went back to prison and now he's serving time. Right now, this will be his 10th year. So if you add that up, that will be additional 30 years that my brother has been incarcerated, and he was incarcerated at the age of 18. So half of his life has been incarcerated. So our tree of the week today is basically this. How can we help a family member who's incarcerated? Well, the first thing we need to help is by showing our loved ones support while they are locked up. Don't turn your back on them. Support them mentally, morally, and even financially. Keep in contact with them. You have no idea of what situation and what difficulties that they're facing in prison. Prison is not the streets. Prison is prison. And they're fighting for their lives, not only on a mental level, but also on a physical level and a spiritual level. So constantly keep in contact with them. If you can't get in contact with them by phone, contact them in writing. There is a new system now that you don't even have to write a letter. You download this app, and this app is created for you to actually do like a text or an email type version to communicate with your loved ones while they are incarcerated. Visit them. Because if our sister Marsha, did not visit her son and was not on, point with her son, just imagine what kind of, difficulty or what kind of pain that he would have been facing by himself if she did not visit him to see him on a continuous level in regards to how he was actually decreasing in his health. So please visit your loved ones, okay? Also, take care of yourself. Because like I said before,
that's right.
When my brother got locked up in prison, I did his bid with him. Every weekend, me, my mother, may Allah be pleased with her, we were down at every prison that my brother got transferred to or got sent to, or if he was in the box, and that's a prison within a prison. You have to know these things. And that actually beats on the mind of someone who loves you. And I know for a fact Sister Marsha is going through some mental scrutiny in her mind about why my son, my AB honor roll son, is now incarcerated. How did this happen? So you have to take care of your mind mentally in order for you to help them in that capacity, because you have to be there mentally for them. Okay. If they have children, do not say, oh, well, your father's in prison or your mother is in prison. So, you shouldn't see them in this way. No, you should want them to see their family in that way. So not only it can be an example for them, but be able to say, hey, it don't matter where my family is, I'm going to support them, and I'm going to bring the children to support them as well.
That's right.
And the last thing is always have them with legal, fight their legal battles. A lot of our brothers and sisters are in the prison right now without any answers. Some of them are in there and they did not do anything, and they did not even do the crime, but they're serving the time for a crime that they didn't even commit. And this is our dear brother Cameron, that's suffering this same situation. So support them in regards to their legal battles. In addition to maintain open communication with your sons and daughters. If possible, stay informed with their well-being so you can provide some comfort for them. It is important to take care of yourself mentally as well as emotionally. And don't hesitate to seek professional help if you need it. And that's our tree of the week. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Sister Kalila, can I make a comment based
Absolutely.
on and I want to highlight a comment here because we have no idea who may be tuning in, and this will be creating an air of hope on us.
Yes.
Because Sister Marcia, it's too easy to give up. It's too easy. But you have made the decision, dear sister, to stand up for your son and fight. And don't stop fighting, beloved. And we, as the Nation of Islam, we love our people. We are very much aware of the injustices that they experience, and we will be there fighting for you and with you. Our beloved sister, a friend of mine, I tagged her in the comment section. This is what she has to say. This is Sister Danielle Dar. She's out in Pittsburgh. She comments, just tuning into the program tonight. She says, I needed to hear this. My son is 19 and was hit by a car on August 5th. Caleb was leaving my mom's 70th birthday for my brother's and was going to grab something from my house and never made it back to return to cooking on the grill. A lady clipped him and witnesses even reported, and police won't investigate. He is now paralyzed. And he was a HVAC student. HVAC student. Thank you. I will use this advice as well. And she says, thank you. And so, Sister Marcia, Brother Rashad, Brother Kurt, 7th Region Coalition, thank you for doing what you are doing. And thank you, Nation of Islam. Thank you, Brother Naba, as this program will continue on that platform. Next week. Sister Marcia, tune in and let's be in support of this in all cases in which our people are experiencing injustice. Family, we are at war. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that we need to be uprooted into the knowledge of the war in order to know how to participate in the war. This is how we participate in war.
Praises be to Allah. And without further ado, we're going to have closing remarks from our dear sister, Sister Marcia.
Again, I want to say to everyone that I am overjoyed. I'm so elated by everyone's willingness to welcome my son, assist my son. It's not a lot that I can tell him that's going on, and he will remember, because he doesn't remember a lot. But I did let him know that he has a new family out there that's fighting for him. I told him, just in case you watch the news and your picture pops up, that's just us fighting to get you out of here. And so we are so happy. And I've taken all of the advice, and I will, again, with your help, put it into motion. I thank God for everything that I have experienced. And I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up on my sons or any of my boys. I've, again, over half my life have dedicated to everyone else's children. And now it's time for me to fight for mine.
That's right.
All right.
All right. Well, so Brother Rashad, if you have any closing remarks in regards to our sister's case, if you can, I'm gonna get you. You can do so in regards to what your closing remarks as well.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to remind Sister Marsha that we do have a plan of action with bullet points that we will be moving off of. Everything we do is mathematically situated with a predetermined end result that's mathematically seen. So we know what the end result is going to be, but we need to have the people in place to facilitate this plan of action that you see right here on the screen. So God willing, expect this to happen in the very near future. We're going to work quickly. We're going to work efficiently, and we're going to stay on this until we see the end result that we look for. Not what they want us to have, but the end result that we want.
That's right.
Peace be upon you and your family, dear sister. And we love you, and we love your son and your family. And once again, we will always be here for you in our prayers and with our persons.
Thank you.
Brother Kurt.
Thank you, Sister Kalila, for even inviting me in to hear this. I've been working in prison reform for the last about 9 years now, consistently. It's a passion of mine. I know how the system is. I know what parents go through. I developed Sister Marsha, I developed a consulting service for issues like your incarcerated family consultation, right? Because I know a lot of times family members don't understand the system here in Arkansas. They don't know the language. I understand that your emotional self sometimes get in the way, and people will push you to the side because you're trying to explain the love that you have for your child, and they won't hear it, right? But with those of us who understands the system and know how to address it, and Brother Rashad, Brother Michael, Brother Zachariah, I'm here in the Southwest region, and I'm dedicated to the service, and just please let me stay in the fight to help you guys in the 7th region, because it's a learning experience for me, and it's a different type of understanding of what goes on outside of the state of Arkansas. I thought we had a beast here, but I understand that there's a greater beast there in Florida that y'all are dealing with, and we'll keep you in our prayers here. Have a team of people here, so whatever y'all need from me, Sister Kalila, Brother Rashad, Brother Michael, Brother Zachariah, I'm here to help give our full services to whatever you guys need there.
Praises be to Allah. Okay, and please stay tuned. Again, this is our 9 ministry showcase, but we're going to pause for the calls next week, because we're going to bring the founder of the 7th Region Coalition.
Who is that? Who is that, Sister Kalila? Who is that?
That is our dear, that is our dear minister, our dear regional minister, Brother Patrick Muhammad. Right. He's going to be blessing us on next week, and he's going to just tell us basically how this thing even started and where we're going in our future. So please stay tuned next week. We're going to have our dear brother on the line, and he's going to be blessing us next Thursday, inshallah. All right. And then also, come on now, talk about the favorite. Look, our Christmas. This is our Christmas, y'all. Y'all to listen. Y'all don't understand about our Christmas. Our Christmas is real. Let me tell you about our Christmas. Our Christmas is all about this man right here. Listen, this is our Christmas treat. Everybody say, "Oh, I can't wait for Christmas." No, we can't wait for Savior's Day.
Don't say Christmas uses.
No, I'm talking about people say, look, people say, I can't wait for Christmas. But I'm just trying to let them know this is consider our Christmas. Right? Because people grave over Christmas. No, but this is our holiday. This is Savior's Day. This is our holiday. This is what we share, because they have holy days, but we have a holy day. It's a difference, Brother Tony. It's a difference.
Absolutely.
But please share our love, our respect, our support. February the 23rd through the 25th. Please, please, please stay tuned. It's also going to be live on this particular website, NOI.org. Please stay tuned, and you can get your tickets by just logging in and registering. All right.
It's going fast. Get
It
your
is definitely
tickets
going
now.
Yes.
fast.
Now.
Right now.
Don't wait till after tonight. Do it
Please
now.
don't wait.
Absolutely.
Do not wait.
Absolutely.
Do not wait. And also,
Please
please
support. Please
Cha-ching!
support. You know, this is a labor of love, but the costs that we incur are real.
yes.
Fair exchange has never been robbery.
That's right.
Right. Talk
Right.
that talk.
Right.
If you could please support, and we will ensure that we will continue bringing to you quality programming. You don't have to put a whole lot. Although if you send a whole lot, we're not going to deny it.
Yeah, don't block their blessings, brother. Don't block their blessings.
No, we're not going to deny it. But whatever you could spare, family, even if it's a couple of dollars, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you for whatever charitable donation you are able to make, and may Allah God bless you all and your families for whatever you're able to give. We thank you.
All right.
Cash App,
So we had
$ 7th Region Coalition.
Yes.
Right. It's right at the
Just
bottom.
in case
right
you
at
don't
the
see
bottom.
it.
Felicia's gonna make a
Right.
phone.
It's right at the bottom.
Cash App.
Right at the bottom. So I want to
Yeah.
thank our guests. Again, we salute you, Sister Marsha, for your efforts. I mean,
Keep fighting the good fight, your sister.
and we're behind you. We are behind you, sis. Like I said, when I heard this
My dear
story, I promise you, I thought that I said this can't be real. But this sister is living a reality that no one wants to live, but she's living it, and we're gonna fight for her. Okay, so stay tuned. Like Brother Naba said, hey, we're going on Tuesday. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be at the next one. We're gonna be at the next one. Hey, we turning things out for justice for our dear brother Cameron. All right. So
I'm gonna bring that up again. Sister
yes,
Kalila.
absolutely.
Make sure to tune in next Tuesday night. Next Tuesday, Straight Words with Naba Muhammad, DJ Murphy, and James G. Muhammad, as we host Sister Marsha and have her share more about Cameron's plight. And you see the information right there. WVON AM 1690 Chicago, and also go to Heart Radio app.
It's iHeart Radio.
iHeart. Yeah,
iHeart.
okay, I see. It got cut off. Thank you, Sister Felicia. And I got excited. WVON.com.
And this is Central Time. So Eastern Time, Central Time. So don't show up late. Show up on time.
10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central.
That's right. That's right. All right. So we're going to close this beautiful show out. Again, for those who actually seeing this show on YouTube, we also have another streaming station as well that we just added. So please just like and share. Hit replay. If you replayed it, hey, we want to know that you're listening outside of the live, okay?
Share it.
And share.
Right.
Share. And even, look, I have a homework assignment. The homework assignment is everyone that's listening, I want you to go on your Facebook, YouTube, whatever, device that you have, and I just want you to put Justice for Cameron. Justice for Cameron. That's it. Justice for Cameron. That's all. Look, less is better. Right? Justice for Cameron. Let's put this word out there. Let's fight for our sister. She's on the battlefield. We should be on the battlefield with her. So we're going to close this beautiful, beautiful segue. And Brother Tony, we're going to close out. Go ahead, Brother Tony.
Keep tuning in. You pretty much said it all, Sister Kalila. We thank you for tuning in, family. Family, we are, I'm going to say it like how Brother Lyle used to say, we're not a group, we're not a clique, we're not a crew, but we are the 7th Region Coalition. Keep tuning in, dear family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.